We'll now call the Beaufort County Board of Education agenda setting meeting of December 16, 2019 to order. Present in the room are Kathy Robine, myself, Mr. Earl Campbell, Dr. Frank Rodriguez, and Robin Cushingberry.
I move we approve the agenda.
Yeah, I don't seem to have the agenda. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. That's why I was sorry. Thank you. You move to approve the agenda. Thank you. I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We'll now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The media has been properly notified. We have a motion to approve the December 2 agenda setting meeting minutes, the draft that is before us.
I motion to approve minutes.
And
The draft of minutes.
I will second it.
Okay.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Now we're on to the setting the agenda for the January 7th board meeting, and we have a draft before us. All right, so let's start with the executive session. And there's three topics there.
I think this is after it comes out of operations tomorrow. The architects are going to the operations, as well as in operations is going to be a security priority. That's an executive session, which means there might be action coming out of that as well.
So
will that go in executive session here for the full board too?
well, I guess that depends on what comes out of that meeting, because I think part of the conversation tomorrow about the architect work has to do with security regarding referendum work. And so they're going to have that conversation in executive session in operations before they talk about the architect who designed it.
Okay.
Okay. And then, so I would think if the operations committee believes that that's important conversation that the rest of the board should have, they'll make, I'm assuming they'll make the request to have that as part of executive session at the board meeting because of the safety security conversation.
Okay.
Otherwise, but if this is, if either way, I mean, if it's tied to
No, it's kind
the
of
discussion
connected.
of this, you could have it.
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
So then I wouldn't need to add
I
that
don't
since
think
it's
so.
already added
As
on
part
here
of
for
that,
as part
yeah.
of this architect. Okay.
Okay. And it seems like there should be more under there, but that's good. We're not missing anything?
No, I asked about that.
Okay,
I don't think.
all right.
Maybe.
Okay.
Which is not what you need.
You're on camera.
Okay. I'll run it up for you.
All right. So that looks good. And that was the way the discussion, that was the way it was written on the last agenda.
I just copied
Just
it.
copied
I
it.
just copied
Okay.
it from the last
Yeah,
agenda.
and that was something we didn't bring a motion forward on. Okay. So the rest we can,
What was that, we didn't bring a motion on our last meeting?
number, the third bullet under executive session, it's the same
About the
topic.
architects. Should we have approval of the December 10th meeting minutes on here?
I have the 3rd and the 10th.
Oh. Oh, I see. Yep.
And there's still an old one with,
The November 5th has been approved. I just need to get the wording to you
Yeah, exactly.
so that you could look at it and make sure that I
Okay.
copied
Yep.
what your
Okay.
statement was.
that's fine. So those are the two that are outstanding, the 3rd and the 10th. Okay. Committee reports.
Kathy, under academics, you all sent the other one back, transportation. Weren't we getting more information, or should I brought, let's see.
Transportation should be
I mean,
yes.
No, student travel, I said it wrong. So under last academics, it was student travel, but I thought there was more conversation and more things to be written up. So it wasn't ready to come to the full board yet for approval.
Student travel, that's the
Remember-
one with the, when we were talking about the
Chaperones,
chaperones. and the
exactly.
chaperones, right. Okay.
So the
Yeah, I
only
think it
one,
needed more
we
tweaking.
needed more work.
Right.
I just wanted to make sure, and then the only one coming out of that then is the IS 43. That was the grading assessment system.
That's right, let me look at my calendar
That
so
sounds
I
right
can
to
tell
me.
you what we're
Because-
talking about at our,
Because there was some tweaking to that, so that's coming back for the second time.
Right.
So that's what I thought that was ready.
yeah, on our, student travel is coming back on the 15th, that's an AR, and PE 1.9
Okay.
guidance is coming back on the 15th.
So the only thing that I put under academics then for the full board is the IS 43.
That's right.
Under finance, they didn't have any recommendations that came
Okay.
out, so I didn't have anything. Operations, the last meeting they had the HR report, other than one PE, but since there's operations tomorrow, I'm gonna put all of operations down once we finish tomorrow's meeting, because I'll have more things coming out of tomorrow's meeting.
Okay. And this is January 7th, so that would be fine.
Yeah.
Well, my question was gonna be, but if we're finalizing the agenda today, then, we probably shouldn't put anything else outside of what we, out of what we have, for what we're putting on there today as of right now. I think that should go towards the next agenda.
But it's gonna be it's the committee, I mean, we already know the committee is meeting, why would you wanna delay what they decided?
No, I'm not trying to lay it off. I was just saying just because of the fact that I know that she lists, and I didn't realize that she was listing basically what was coming.
Well, you were having an operation, the reason why you're having tomorrow's meeting, because it's prior to January 7th. Because of those items that you are discussing tomorrow have to be on the January 7th meeting. But I can't put it on this agenda yet until after tomorrow's meeting.
Okay.
And remember, this
Okay.
doesn't get posted now.
Oh,
Right,
oh,
Yeah,
oh,
this
oh,
is
oh,
posted
oh,
now.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's what, that's what you're
Yeah,
thinking, I think,
okay,
yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
No, that sounds reasonable.
Okay.
And finance wouldn't be meeting again before this?
Correct.
Okay, so, and there were no
You said?
recommendations coming out?
Correct.
I only have one more for this.
All right.
The item that
Oh, okay.
was presented at finance, I put it down under board business, and I think Dick was going to email you about the letter. So I put those two things in red because wasn't sure with the titles, but I knew that they were agenda items that were forthcoming,
Yeah,
so.
and they didn't vote on that letter in the finance?
Correct.
Okay, so that seems where we should go then, under board business, not under finance then. Okay, so we have nothing under the superintendent's report, that doesn't seem possible.
So, under, goal 1, I gotta
Yeah.
wait a couple more days.
Okay.
Because I'm hoping we'll have some, map data, completed that we'll be able to share and sort of analyze and share and talk about.
So then don't you think, let's put it on here then, and we can always remove it.
Okay.
Right?
That's fine, yep.
Yeah. So we'll say, so this would be fall? No,
No,
it'd be winter map.
It'd be winter map,
Okay,
right?
yeah,
Winter map data.
that sounds good.
Okay, and then, under goal number 3, just recently got a result of food service procurement review that was done last year.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have that information that just recently came in, and so, you know, we can share that information at that time.
So, results of food,
Is there a PE that would cover that?
yeah.
No?
No.
Okay.
And so the purpose of this would be informational
Yeah,
as
inform
opposed to
the
be
board.
decision making?
Yeah, it's not decision making, it's to inform the board on what we receive from, I think it's from the State Department.
Okay, great.
So it's a food service audit?
Not audit,
I mean,
it's a result of a food service procurement
Procurement
review.
Results of,
Of a State Department, we think it's
I
probably.
believe it's State Department, food
Let's
service
see,
procurement.
yeah, let's clarify who.
Yeah,
did the
exactly.
review.
Yep,
yeah, that would be important. Thank you. Okay.
and then, under other matters,
Yeah,
you know, I'm sort of reserving that in there for
referendum update.
referendum updates.
Yep,
Mhm.
So that we have,
okay.
so that I have a space to
Yep.
talk about that.
And when is their first meeting in January, the committee?
We're still
Deciding
working
that?
on that date, but
Okay.
I'll have that by then.
Yeah.
It
okay.
won't be before that. So,
Yeah, that's kind of what I was,
Yes, yes, it will
Driving
not,
at.
it will not
Okay.
be before that.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that'd be good.
yeah.
you guys get
I
anything you
had-
wanna?
What about the assessment of the Bridge Street property? That was something that was brought up, that we had taken it
Yes, okay.
off before. Dave Stribinger brought that back up.
he
Right.
head of operations
And we said we'd wait till after the referendum, I
Yes,
remember that was
yes.
the timing.
Mhm.
Yes,
So, and so it hasn't been determined, if I recall correctly, of whether or not we're gonna do a, appraisal on it. So that would be
they
something.
had to be, the operations was looking for the full board to determine if they wanted to do a appraisal.
So that seems like,
Would that be an
a
executive
good
session?
session, yeah. Or,
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I mean,
Well, probably, maybe both would, I guess we want to take action on it, we just discuss.
Well, we can take action based upon, action is necessary or appropriate regarding matters discussed in executive session, but we're gonna have to ask Wendy, I
Should
think.
should that go
Oh, should put it
to
on.
operations committee first?
It's been there.
It's
It's
been
been
there.
there, right, so that's, I was wondering, maybe, should we just,
To the full board.
Operations committee is sending it to the
full
board.
board, right.
I'm sorry, I thought you
Yes.
said operations before.
No.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The committee had it, and they want the full board to make a determination if they want.
Okay, yep.
I don't see why we can't, discuss part of it, well, I guess that's a public discussion, I guess we should just go ahead and discuss how the public can be done with it. It's a public discussion, realistically.
I'm not sure if the whole thing is because,
Now, you might get some legal advice from Wendy or
Yeah.
some conversation about it.
yeah,
If you do, that would be the,
executive,
if there's
Yeah,
anything
if
related
there's
to
a
that.
legal, yeah.
because right now, see, there's a lease in place, that's ongoing for years. Now, that would obviously no longer be, considered executive session material, that would be considered
Yeah,
public session. But if the purpose of the appraisal is to consider sale of it, and then if you start talking sale pricing and blah, blah, that would be private, that would be under executive session, so. The whole idea, I guess, is to make a decision about
If you're gonna sell it.
if we're not gonna, if there's no sense in doing an appraisal if we're not gonna sell it. We have no other reason to do an appraisal, but if we are gonna sell it,
So maybe the conversation is you need to sit there and decide if you want to sell it or not,
Yeah.
or continue with the $1.99 lease
whatever
that,
it is.
that you have to put out.
So, why don't I,
It says a motion was made
here we go.
to approve $1,900 for an appraisal of the Bridge Street property in Bluffton. The motion was seconded, but it doesn't look like it was passed.
that was when,
This was September 17th.
oh, you talking about at a board meeting?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I don't think that passed, I think that was.
These are this is the motion summary.
oh, here it says, a motion was made to postpone the
Oh.
Yeah.
decided
Until after the
I
referendum.
think Mr. Dowling made the motion to
Yes.
postpone it.
And that's what you all did?
The motion was seconded and
Yeah,
passed.
6-3. So, I don't
Mr.
know, Earl, do
Dowling,
you
I
know?
believe, had said let's wait until
After
after the
the
referendum.
referendum.
He did.
So do you,
Right?
so the,
Yeah, he did. He said because he think it would look good now for us to go. If we go out and spending money, getting someone to look for building, you know, that we already he says all along the line.
so the Bridge Street property, that's the property that the Bluffton Town Hall is on.
Right,
Okay, and so we said we'd have a discussion about
an
an
appraisal,
appraisal on that property
Right.
after the referendum.
right.
So where do you picture that discussion taking place?
If we're gonna be talking about funds and stuff, I think part of it should be executive session.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think. Part should probably be executive and part public.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll put that in executive session, then you have another executive session, the Riverview Charter School contract. I don't know, Wendy, that was
Oh,
on the last
it was
one
on
and
the last
they
one and they
came
pulled it
off.
off.
Yeah, and Wendy is out today, she'll be back tomorrow.
What would be the,
What did I say that was? No, sign this kind of paper.
And that was that is executive session piece too, isn't it?
Yep,
and what is it specifically about the Riverview?
the charter,
Riverview
the charter
Charter
school contract.
Contract.
Okay. All right,
So
contract.
one was the assessment of the Bridge Street property, but let's see.
Says we did street property. And I'll just
So-
do a placeholding. and
Yeah,
take it
maybe
up.
Yeah.
Dr. Rodriguez could talk to Wendy.
Yep.
You understand what we want to know is, you know,
Yeah, from September.
I mean, we're gonna consider an appraisal if we make a decision to sell it, but we shouldn't do the appraisal, I don't think, until we have decided whether we're gonna sell it or not.
Right.
Yeah, okay. All right, so now those things are under
And
there.
actually, also, well, I guess that's not be executive question. I don't need to ask that question. I don't know.
So, it seems, I don't know, it seems like there's no, I don't think that's enough time, an hour. It always seems like
I know.
4:30,
4 is too long.
okay, 4:30.
4:30.
4:30, an hour and a half in executive session, that's
I
a
don't see
lot
that
of
we have
time.
what all do you have?
So we have the 3 things that are on here already, plus we just added 2 more,
Possibly two.
possibly 2 more. The assessment of the Bridge Street property,
Right.
And Riverview.
Charter school.
or discussion of sale,
Yeah.
maybe that's what it should be. Discussion of possible sale, I don't know, that would be Wendy to tell us how to.
Discussion of possible sale in Bluffton, Bluffton
Property.
property.
Of
That's what it
Bluffton
should be.
property, yeah.
Yeah, that's more, maybe that's better.
That probably for.
Yeah, I'd say 4:32.
4:30,
All right. And then we have the Riverview Charter School contract.
Mhm.
All right.
They don't have any student performance and we don't have points of celebration. That's why they're not on there.
Yep.
Okay.
Anybody think of anything else under, going back down to the superintendent's report?
PE 5.4 is, deals with exit interviews of staff, of teachers. And when we look at our work plan, for some reason, it says that was in December.
That's part of the HR report. In the HR report, they have, like, I think 8 to 10.
Then they did operations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's coming under operations, under the
Okay,
HR
right,
report.
okay, all right.
So all of the PEs are coming, that they have under the work plan is separate grievance, because that
Okay.
was not passed, and that
I
goes back
asked
to
this morning
operations.
at staff about
Yes.
the HR PEs.
Okay.
So that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, so they come under one
Yeah.
report and they come out once a
Okay,
year.
all right, well.
I was looking at the chart and I was like,
Because to me, it's like the exit interviews, that would be better information to have at the end of the school year, like in June,
Yeah.
but, okay, so I had that.
So let's, okay. I was gonna suggest maybe we finish what we got on
Yeah,
here and then
yeah.
see the new topics that we,
Yeah.
or requests that we don't have on here yet. So, one thing, okay, so under board business action, FOIA charges, and FOIA is another PE, 11, and it's supposed to be reported out 4 times a year, and we have not, what?
You don't have that?
Not on one paper.
Oh,
Oh,
I can
yeah.
get you,
That's the first page of my notebook.
yeah.
I can get you a small one.
Let's start with the plan.
Well, this FOIA,
Can't carry that around.
this one was John's. That, and I didn't know how to word it, so I didn't know
Right.
if that's gonna come up under the regular the FOIA report that comes out 4 times a year, or is this gonna be a separate, since this?
Well, I think this would be my opinion. First of all, we need the 4 times a year report, because we haven't had that in a while.
Okay.
I've forgotten the last time it was, but it's more than 6 months, I'm pretty certain, because I don't think we've done it since you've been here.
I don't think so.
Because I think that in turn will have some influence on the discussion about the charges. So we could we have wouldn't it be possible to do an end of year one now? Or, I guess it would be through November at least.
One of the things, one of the things, I know we have a couple of FOIA requests that are due right now. One involves 22,000 items,
Wow.
which is part of this whole FOIA conversation,
Yeah,
to be honest, because the individual who does FOIA, when you get 22,000 items, that means your other job is not taking place, because you're
right,
doing this.
yeah.
And it's not just that, I mean, it's
Mhm.
the types of requests. So, I'm a little leery of saying, that we can pull together a presentation or report, because at the end of this week, everybody's.
Scattered, yeah. Well, we did say at the last agenda setting meeting, and I put this in an email to John and I copied the whole board on it, and I believe you and Wendy, that this FOIA discussion, his wanting basically the media to not be charged. We said we would do it in January. We didn't say it was be the first meeting. We said January. So, I mean, if we do, I think it's better to have better information and to make better decisions. So if that's not going to be possible for January 7th, then I think we should have it whatever it is, the 21st.
If you like, you know, I can circle the wagons tomorrow and see about the feasibility of providing this FOIA report for the board on that January 7th meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And if it seems like it's something they'll be able to do, you know, then by all means. But if it's something that their hands are tied with this massive request right now,
All right.
I'm not.
I was thinking also January 21st would give them time to do a year, 2000,
Full year
a
review.
full
Yeah,
year,
we would have-
exactly,
and we
for
would have both.
2019. It would be half of, last school year and the first half of this school year,
Yeah.
but at least it would be a whole year. And I think the way we received it before was a whole year.
Mhm.
Do you remember, Earl?
Yeah, it's been about a year.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, by year. So that might be better
That'd be better, okay.
to actually have the whole year. And then following that, I think we need John's discussion, that request.
So we put it at the second meeting in January for both?
I think so. What do you think, Kathy and William?
I have, the FOIA should those things go through the finance committee? What, no?
No.
The PEs don't go through the finance committee for FOIA?
The FOIA hasn't in the past. The FOIA,
Yeah.
before
Okay.
we got it, I remember, I think at a work session, didn't we?
We got it because that's where you started,
Okay.
that's where you developed, but it is something that should go through a finance committee, so you would need to decide.
Why would FOIA go through finance?
Yeah, so-
Well, it was a PE, and you send all the PEs through committees.
Through committees,
But
freedom of
I would
information,
say
yeah, why would we go
FOIA
through that
falls
one?
under communications
Right.
more than it falls
Operations.
under.
Or
I guess I was
operations,
thinking,
yeah.
because I was
But
thinking money,
Communications
I was
now comes
thinking
from
money, but yeah.
operations.
But either, I mean,
For the full board, yeah. I'm okay if we put it off to the second one. I would just, suggest that we send out something to the board, to the full board, saying that it will, due to such and such, it will be at the second.
We'll have a FOIA report on the second.
On the
one,
second,
and-
that will give us
And then we'll
time
have
to
the
give us a
whole
full
FOIA
year.
conversation.
I mean, just,
So do you want to do any checking tomorrow before we make
Yeah,
that final
before we do
decision?
I'll be glad to, yeah.
okay,
I think
because if
it's-
we could have it on the seventh, that would be good. But I was just looking to see if there was anything in here.
So would that be for both conversations, or are you?
Yeah, I
looking-
definitely
Makes
think
sense.
I think the summary should in a way be before the how much are we what
Yeah.
who should have
Mhm.
no charges and who should get charged, and, I mean, they're all public documents, so they're all posted.
No, I mean, if we had, if we had it as part of the FOIA report, as part of the superintendent's report.
Yeah, that's
for
what I was thinking.
example, then board action, would be the next one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
You know, because we have no points of celebration, or think this meeting could be, time-wise, it might be
Sure.
nice to have it at this meeting,
Yeah.
because the
Mhm.
meeting shouldn't be quite as
I agree.
long.
Yep.
So just see what,
So put
See what we
it
can-
perhaps
See what you
up
can do
under
with that.
superintendent's report?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
would be ideal to have it
Other
here.
matters, yeah.
other matters, yeah.
So that would be PE 11.
Yeah, right, under superintendent's report, the board, we still can take board action too as well, so.
Right.
Yes,
And that's why, because of the,
yeah,
yeah.
Yep.
But really it's really a
a
report.
report.
And
Oh,
then
okay.
we-
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
over
11 for you. Okay. And so I don't, for the business action, if we leave it on here for, that you have right there, it should be FOIA, yeah, I guess charges, because that would cover, that's a broad basket, a big basket. That would covering, yeah.
So, I had two different FOIA. I'm having a FOIA report update under the superintendent's report, which would be PE 11.
Mhm.
And then under board action, we're gonna do the FOIA charges.
Right,
Discussion.
of the
Up for
charges.
yeah.
All right. And then the letter to the director of the South Carolina Department of Revenue. So, I was sent the letter, and I've read the letter, and to me, it seems like it's additional, action for a motion that the board has already approved. And that was that we should, the wording was something to the effect of use all legal means to, I think we directed the superintendent to use all legal means to recoup the, now $9 million shortfall. I think when we made the motion, it was something like a $7.7 million shortfall. So, but,
Do you want that?
so I'm not sure we are, honestly, I mean, I guess, I'm not sure that has to be a board action thing.
Because you've already directed,
We've already
we
told
directed
you
to
to
do
do
it.
that. And I don't know if you would, just present it under
Information.
fiscal responsibility.
Well, let me ask you this,
Mhm.
where would you feel comfortable with
Yeah.
it being at?
It doesn't matter. I mean, I think the one thing is when we say, all,
Legal means.
all legal means, right? So how far is the board willing to go within all legal means?
Oh, I know.
And to take that step,
Yeah,
right, that's not a step that I necessarily want to take without the board having a conversation, right? I mean, to determine how far they're willing to go with all legal means. That's a big umbrella. Sending a letter, that's easy, right?
You don't want, right, I mean, you'd rather have
But the muscle behind the letter, that's a whole other.
right, and this doesn't require expenditure of funds, like you're not hiring an attorney to do this outside the district.
No.
You're not, filing a lawsuit or,
No.
yeah, so
Yeah.
to me, this seems like a kind of a
point of
no-brainer.
information.
Yeah.
So this doesn't really need to be under board business, this
I don't
letter's
think
coming
so. I
from
mean, I
you
guess
and
it-
it's your letter.
Right,
And
except,
we've already told him to do
Right.
that, or the board has already directed
Right.
him to do that.
what was the discussion,
I'm trying to think when that was.
I'm looking for.
Discussion.
I think I
during
wanna
the
say
visit
that
time.
it was, maybe at
Well,
the work session of August.
That was a work session, and that was John, and that was,
That's what it
John's
was.
the one who did the motion
Right.
for that.
Well, I feel if reminded, and that's put out there, maybe can this possibly go in the superintendent's report?
That's what we just said.
Yeah, that's what we're
Yeah,
thinking.
and that way you can ask the board, this should be if the board already approved,
I'm pretty sure
and
it's
it's a reminder, then this should be a 10 minute turnaround.
This looks like the work session, right?
It was August,
Do you
and
think
John,
it was-
and it was August, and John made the motion,
I think that should be a 5 to 10 minutes at the most discussion.
Yep.
If the board
Unless
already
it was the
instructed
spring,
the superintendent.
unless it was earlier.
It wasn't in August.
No.
Then it could have been at our earlier, because we had a finance, like back in February, March, April, when we did the budget.
Oh, yeah, but it was before August for that
Yeah,
reason.
because it was during the
It was
budget.
during the budget season.
So that would be our work
yeah, I don't
session.
remember
It was our work
that
session.
vote, you know,
Okay.
but I
It was
hear
May or
about it,
June.
but I
Yeah.
don't remember it.
Our work session, it would have been,
Might have been.
Ask work session.
Here's another, going into executive session to discuss the sale.
but John made the motion, because I remember it was his motion.
On the motion summary, it doesn't say who made
Right,
them.
okay.
Did you print all these?
Yes,
That was smart.
I figured this is the best way for me to keep track of
Mhm.
things. How about while we're looking at this, a report on the grant writer? We did we approved remember?
Yeah.
So is the grant writer on board, are we?
I know we've met with the grant writer. I had the same conversation this morning with the grant writer.
Okay.
So, they told me they have met with them, they were impressed with the group that was here from the grant writer group, and, you know, what kind of update are you looking for?
That.
Just that.
Right,
Yeah,
well,
not
can you
on-
put that on the superintendent's report as well?
Yeah, that sounds good then.
Okay.
That would
Because
be,
I know that we, approved hiring a grant writer, so I was just wondering.
Where do we want it?
Under
Other
other
matters or-
matters.
Under that,
update.
Just say that, yeah.
or we'd also go under fiscal responsibility.
Will you put it up under there?
Sure.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it's better if we try to put it into a category than other matters.
Update on grant writer.
So you're back in April?
I'm back in April.
I would guess it was in May now, thinking of.
Mills budget.
Yeah.
Well, I just think if you bring it out there and you put it on the superintendent's report, that should be, if the board already approved it, there should be a 5 to 10 minutes discussion. I mean, it's no harm that they didn't they're already there having that conversation.
Yep.
Oh, I know, I sent an email about it. I did that way.
It was at the May 16th. The motion says, Mr. John Dowling made the motion for the board to direct the superintendent to take all necessary steps to explore all legal channels with the county and to recoup to the $7.7 million lost to the district due to an error in the county's calculation of last year's rollback. The motion was seconded by Ms. Joanne Orshak. The motion passed 7-1. So that was at the special call board meeting, May 16th, budget session.
All right, I didn't have that. Is it in,
I wonder.
are there a motion summary? Is there a motion summary page for that
Yes,
meeting?
ma'am. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
let's go back and get it. So I have them all.
Want me
May
to just go ahead
16th.
and print it out?
Yeah, please. No wonder I couldn't find it.
Because I know John did it.
Yeah, I mean-
And so now, it would be good that we rediscussing it anyway, so that, because from what Dr. Quad says, that it's changed to $9 million now, so the number probably would even change on that anyway, from it moving forward here. So I think that would be a great idea to rediscuss that moving forward.
Yep.
Because I don't want anybody to be technical and say, well, we told them to do that, 7.6, now we're asking, just
It's good.
all the kinks out of it, makes sense.
So maybe, under the documents in the board business here, we should have that motion summarized
Okay.
under that letter to the debt. We're gonna have the letter, of course, and then can you put the May 16th motion,
So this is going to go under,
board business
Under
action?
board business.
Or no, we
No,
decided
no,
to move it to
just over-
superintendent.
superintendent.
moved it to
Sorry.
other
Other
updates.
matters.
Fiscal responsibility.
Update.
Yeah, that'd be fiscal responsibility.
Okay.
But I think it would help the board if you actually had that
Okay.
motion, so they don't have to go
Motion to
looking for it.
Okay.
Yeah, under there too.
So we have two things under fiscal responsibility now.
The results of the food service procurement review, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Well,
then,
that's three.
oh,
Oh,
Yeah, we now have results of food service procurement review, grant writer,
okay.
And now-
and letter.
and the letter
to
director.
director.
Okay. Yeah. And number 3 is this one. Okay. So, how about Keith?
Okay.
What each of you have for other agenda requests?
you already have it, Lori?
Nope.
Okay. Well, on 10:15, the two TIF, things were asked for. PE 9.0, but I think PE 9.0 is, which one is that?
I'll tell you, just
I
a
was
moment.
gonna look this up, and I forgot.
Fine,
I think it's,
9.0 is probably the boundaries.
Board relations.
Oh, no.
oh,
That number is off.
Now, when was that requested?
the 10:15.
But you know what, we've really discussed or covered that at, board relations, we've covered it, the
What's
special
that?
call
The work
11:15
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I really think that's
All right.
done.
I need my highlighter.
Okay.
The tip,
The TIF. These things are all into our, the grievance, or the policy things are all into our meeting,
right,
our
policy on,
strategic
yeah,
governance.
policy
Yeah,
on
and we're
handling
working on that.
grievance, second
So
reading
just
for
wanted to-
policy,
Yeah,
Yeah,
and reestablishment of policy committee. All
Yeah.
that goes with the strategic.
yeah.
that goes with strategic.
Mm-hmm.
Self-evaluation of board, that's gotta
Goes
go with strategic. And then the school boundaries PE.
That's in operations under the CIP. That's in that
And
book.
didn't Robert say, when did he said in
But that
January?
was going to.
It went to operations,
The book did, the CIP book.
and they looked at it at this past operations committee meeting. There's the link, and they were asking if there were any changes, and when they met last week, the operations committee didn't have any changes, so they were gonna make the corrections, and then they were going to have the books printed.
Okay,
And
Now, I thought they
and
said that, I thought they said they were gonna put it on in board docs, so the committee could look at it, and then.
It is in board doc, you all
Right.
have it in board docs
Right.
for the committee to look at.
Right,
And
and
then
then
if-
we were gonna talk about it, my understanding is that we were gonna rediscuss that.
It's not on the agenda.
Not this next meeting, not as a mercy meeting, but the final, the regular call schedule meeting is my understanding, but maybe we can check with David, but that's not my understanding of it.
Yeah, I think, because when they put it out there that it needs, that it's in board docs for the board to look at it. And then once operations signs off on it, then it comes to the full board, and then they would print the books.
Right.
Because Joanne keeps asking
Asking
when
where
the
the
book
books are.
is.
Right, and right now,
And
as of right
they-
now, we have not signed off on it.
Right.
Yeah, right, so therefore it has to come back to us, like I said, after, not this meeting, the emergency meeting coming up, but the following meeting from our sense for us is to come back to us,
To the operations.
to operations committee. Yeah, that's my understanding of it.
Okay.
So I have also 10:15, the same one you do, the TIF update. So that's something we could have, but that would be, once again, under superintendent's report.
For.
It was for Port Royal, it was the,
She wants to know which tips do we have.
Yeah,
We
and
have a Port Royal and Hilton Head.
I think we only have Port Royal and Hilton
No,
Head.
yeah.
Yeah,
For which meeting?
for this, well, we don't really,
Well, you know what?
it's too much.
I would rather have the FOIA presentation, and if this is gonna take,
Yeah, that's true.
time from, finance, we could do the TIF one on the second meeting in January. Yeah, and, because I think the FOIA is more
I agree, the
up
FOIA
in
is
the-
more,
Yeah.
everybody's more
If they
interested in
can
that
do
right
the
now.
FOIA.
I think.
So, this TIF will put January,
Okay,
what's the second meeting date in January?
it'll be the 21st.
Okay.
I'll put that too.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Are you
that's
okay
what-
with that?
Yeah, I think that sounds good. Another thing we need, and maybe that would also be the second meeting, is we really probably should have an update from Roberts Box. And I don't know how far he's moving.
Tips.
You're on camera, just FYI.
So the two tests that we had before,
And Hilton Head Island, yes.
Okay. Would you be able to be ready for a discussion for that, for the second meeting in January?
Second meeting, yes. And actually, it would be best to get an update from the individual
Entities?
entities to come forward, so I can ask them to come forward with an update on the TIF.
Yeah, and they're not gonna be able to do that on January 7th. Most people are not doing
Yeah,
much at all the last,
yeah.
2
I
weeks.
can
So January
contact them.
21st.
Yeah,
Yeah,
January
yeah.
21st, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, and ask them to do an update.
Okay,
for us.
so let's, we've put that
With
in
the tip,
January
yeah.
21, that sounds good. I think those are all, because these, I have some of the same ones you do.
Policy.
Yeah, the policies and
Grievances.
grievance we're gonna cover at our workshop.
And the MCIP is Robert Box. We're
Yes.
asking him
Yeah.
to come.
We're asking him to come the second meeting in January, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, because I bet he won't have that much
Right.
done right now either,
Mhm.
just because he was only here in mid-November, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. So that would give him he'll give it a little bit, 2 months have passed with all the holidays.
Yep.
Okay.
What date is that, January 21st?
Yeah, Roberts Fox. And he may want to give that an executive session. Because it may be strategy or, I don't know,
That,
yeah.
that thing's also.
Well, yeah, that's the only thing, right now, we'll talk about that today, this meeting.
Yeah. Okay. I think we covered everything.
Yeah.
Any other comments or? Mr. Campbell, you're quiet over there.
No, I don't have it.
Okay.
So.
All right, should we?
So right now, we don't have anything under board business.
Well, we had
So
it,
we-
we moved them.
We moved them off of board business to the superintendent's report.
There may
Yeah.
be board business under the FOIA.
Right.
We'll get that.
Right, he has about 3 things that we probably could
Yeah.
possibly take, and we wanna start the year, I imagine, at least with the, considering time. We don't wanna make it too long.
Oh, I tend to agree with you. So we could move them there.
But the letter is
I
from
guess
you.
The
so.
letter's from
Conversation.
you,
The letter's from you, so that comes up, that's under your report.
and you're gonna give a FOIA, or your staff is a FOIA,
Yeah, if we can do it, we're gonna do the
Right.
FOIA update,
right?
and then that other item could,
Could stay here,
yeah.
yeah.
The discussion of FOIA charges, so that's the
Yeah.
only thing that I have.
Yeah.
So we'll do
So
the
we have one
report.
thing.
Right,
Yeah,
and
and then
we'll do
we'll
the
do
charges.
And
Yeah,
the charges
okay.
will stay under board business.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But you have to provide in that report, about the charges, how to,
Yes, yes.
a summary of how it is charged and how
Yeah.
it's posted. I think it would be really helpful to just briefly tell what the process is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that the board would be, honestly, I think the board will be pleasantly surprised at how much we just give them already
okay.
without a charge.
With that being said, that's pretty much,
That's pretty,
but
that's
it's
quite a
pretty-
bit.
it is, that's
Yeah.
that meeting itself is gonna be pretty long, especially starting at 4:30.
Right.
We're working
Yeah.
on fine tuning the time, so.
Yep.
So I have a suggestion now, if we go down to discussion of any other board meeting agendas. So can we set a date with the board members for the workshop on the implementing the workshop for implementing coherent governance? Because I think the sooner we query the board members and get a date, and I think you and I had a brief discussion about this, and we were thinking of maybe doing a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because it seems like that might work better for everybody, because it seemed like,
The weekends,
We
or
kept
like
trying
Fridays,
weekends,
Saturdays, people are
Yeah.
not available.
Right.
So, because we're still waiting to hear from the Aspen Group, right?
Correct.
Okay, on a proposal. And I think it would help if we knew a date, or maybe 2 dates, or,
If you can give 2 dates that we could
yeah,
propose on.
yeah. So we were hoping for January,
We want to do it in January, but
or,
if we, and one of the things like with Aspen and the other people are asking, when are we looking to do it? So if we're moving it from the weekend,
yeah,
I kind of need to give them some dates, proposal
Yeah.
times to see if they're available as well.
To
yes.
piggyback on what you just said on the dates, January 14th and 15th are a Tuesday and Wednesday. The 15th, we have academic committee at 4:30, but we could still do that, after the workshop. Or the 15th and the 16th is a Wednesday and Thursday. Or the next week in January, the 21st
Is a board meeting.
is a board meeting, but it's here, but that might be a long day for, so like the
Yeah.
22nd and the 23rd, and the 22nd is also an academic committee meeting, but I think we'd be okay with that.
So you're proposing that I ask the 14th and 15th board members? Are we
Or the
wanting
15th and
Or the
16th?
15th and
16th?
Yeah,
Do we want
Yeah.
4 hour, just how many hours, because this is not during the day, so what time do we want to start and for how long?
I would think it would be an all-day affair each
So do
day.
you want it during the day? Okay.
Yeah, I think
that's
it'd
what I
be-
was thinking, because otherwise the academic committee would have to move.
Right.
Yeah,
But I know your schedule, you have to check with
How
Rachel.
much hours is gonna be all day?
I don't know, 6 or 8 hours?
It's
maybe
about,
by the
we
time
tried
we're-
about a 6-hour day.
Is that what it is? Yeah. I'm not opposed to a weekend either, a Friday, Saturday. I don't think anybody's gonna want a Saturday, Sunday.
Right.
A Friday, Saturday would be good, also as an option.
We didn't have any Friday, Saturday.
I know, I think maybe.
That was the problem.
Oh,
Because I know you're not available on the 10th, 11th, or didn't you say in January?
Dr. Wisniewski.
Dr. Wisniewski, it was February
yes.
7th, I think you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, I'm gone, February's my conflict.
February's-
January, I'm good.
Oh, okay.
So
Is it just weekends that
what,
people are having issues?
Well, no, I think it's only February, I think it's the first
Well, we
weekend in
already have a
February.
scheduled work session in February, and that was the issue that we started with when we were approving the calendar.
Right, because, yeah, that's not a
So,
good date
so
for me.
that just started the February.
Mm-hmm.
Finding dates in January, we needed 2 dates in January. I was thinking,
are we starting about 10 o'clock in the morning, maybe?
we can start whatever time people.
I think part of it's gonna depend on which facilitator we end up going with as to how much time they think it will be, and
What about the 17th? So if we want to do a Friday, Saturday,
So the
17th,
17th and 18th is Martin Luther King's
Yeah,
weekend,
that's
which was
what we-
not,
Oh,
that's
that's-
not
yeah,
a
yeah,
good
yeah.
weekend, so that would not work.
Well, during the week is not during the week is not bad. I'm just asking what's the time frame. I mean, maybe we need to pick give 2 days, two different days during the week, and then from there figure out what's the time frame. My question is just how long and what's the time frame on it?
We're about to say, we plan for a 6-hour day.
Got you.
So however For
Right,
however it
right.
starts, is about 6 hours.
6 hours, right, okay,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
my main question, I just wanna know the timeframe on it.
So I guess it would help if you can start inquiring,
Okay.
calling the board
All right.
members, and just get a feel for it, maybe, you know.
And I would try, you know, that first week in January is
not gonna be
too
good.
soon, right?
I agree.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
Um,
It would be nice to have it in January
Right.
versus February is my.
Right,
And that's what we were hoping for,
Yeah.
or working towards. So that was the only one I wanted to discuss.
so you said you're not available the last weekend in January?
Right. So I'm not available on,
The
21st?
oh,
No,
the
the
24th
24th
and
and the
25th,
25th.
okay.
I could be here, the 24th I could be there, but not the 25th.
Okay.
24th is a Friday?
Yeah,
So maybe we could do it Thursday, Friday?
Yeah, that's not
Oh, but
really
that's
good for me.
work.
Yeah.
Uh,
the
So Rachel-
31st and the 1st,
31st and
the
the 1st.
1st,
Yeah, I won't be here.
you won't be here, okay.
And then we might wanna see.
That's why we were looking
Yeah,
in the middle
yeah,
of the,
that's
that's why we're going back in the week.
Yeah. Well, in January, I'm here the whole time. It's
Yeah.
February.
So I'm gonna start with the 14th, 15th of
Okay.
January and the 15th, 16th of January.
Okay,
Okay, that sounds reasonable. And then can you also add on to the agenda, another agenda would be, we've got to do the priority schools and the TSI.
Those would be for the second January meeting.
No, they'll be the second, March meeting.
Because we
because
just
we
did
did
Oh,
them.
yeah, 'cause-
They have to be quarterly, and
Yeah.
we forgot to make that announcement. I did this time, because the other times I would always say, we're
Oh.
having them on this, when they were present, and we didn't. So,
So March,
whatever the second meeting.
March second
well, I
meeting
can
in
tell
March.
you,
And we need to announce that in
March
January,
17th.
at the January 7th meeting?
No, just so long as, see, before, I wanted to be sure it was accomplished, because that's the board's
Got
job.
it, got it.
And so we would announce that, okay, you guys
So
are
it
gonna
would
come
be
back.
March 17th.
So just so long as you
Will
know.
do.
17th.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Okay, good.
March,
I'll let them know tomorrow.
March
Okay,
17th.
perfect.
yeah,
That was those are the two things I thought of
okay.
about down there. And so, are there any other comments about
We need
other
to
meetings?
schedule our next agenda setting
Yeah.
meeting.
So it would be normally on
January 13th?
January 13th will be the Monday before the 21st meeting. And so let's do on the south side.
Sound check left the library.
Okay,
Okay,
4:30. That seems to be pretty good for everybody.
works for me.
William,
That's fine.
that's good? Okay. All right,
January 13th.
great,
Yeah.
that's the Monday. All right, we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.